If you teach middle school ELA and want ideas that actually work, you're in the right place. I'm Linda from All in One Middle School, where I share practical teaching tips, free lesson ideas, and ready to use resources. I also have a blog packed with free teacher ideas, a Teachers Pay Teacher store, and a membership for teachers who want absolutely everything at their fingertips. Plus, you'll find free lessons and first chapter Fridays right here on this channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can stay connected for more middle school teaching ideas and maintain a manageable teaching life. Let's get started. Hey there, everyone. I'm so excited to share some really easy but high impact strategies for assessing student reading. If you're tired of using worksheets that don't actually show understanding, today's video is for you. I'm sharing 5 ways to assess fiction reading without worksheets that keep students engaged and still give you meaningful data. Let's dive in. The first item that I'd like to share with you is a one-pager. And what it is, it's a single page where students combine visuals and written responses to show comprehension of fiction text. Here's why it works. It allows students to demonstrate multiple skills at once, like text evidence, theme, symbolism, and deeper analysis. It supports differentiation. Struggling students can lean on visuals. Advanced students can add deeper analysis. Why teachers love it. It's quick to grade with a simple rubric or checklist. I've graded many of these over the years, and it was just like check, check, check. It was one of those things that you can kind of multitask when grading, if you know what I mean, and that I have found that to be very helpful. You can also assess multiple standards in one activity. So if you have kids doing a one-pager on theme, you can see if they're hitting that text evidence, you can see if they're hitting the theme, you can see if they're quoting properly, if they're explaining properly, and things like that. Students also love it because it's creative and engaging, and it's not just another worksheet. It's a little bit more appealing when you look at it and what you're filling in, and it gives them a little bit more of an ownership over it. It also gives them some choice and lets them add their own personal expression. Some examples for you so you know what I mean from the outsiders. Students could include one quote showing Ponyboy's growth, a symbol for belonging, and a short paragraph connecting the two to the theme. For the book Wonder, students could draw a symbolic image of Augie's character arc, including a key quote about kindness, and write a sentence explaining how it ties to the theme. These are fairly easy to create. I do have some available in my TPT store, and I'll be sure to link them in the video description. A second way to assess your students without a boring old worksheet is the character hot seat. What it is one student or a small group takes on the role of a character while classmates ask them questions. And this is really fun, and the kids really enjoy it. It works because it forces students to think from the character's perspective and defend choices with textual evidence. It makes comprehension gaps immediately visible to the teacher. I mean, you'll know right away, number 1, if they didn't read, or number 2, if they weren't understanding it. It encourages higher order thinking, like inference. Teachers love it because it's great for assessing understanding quickly with no paperwork. You can make yourself a little checklist of things that you want to check off. You can give them a quick score of maybe a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 with a comment, and you do it as they present, and you're done. No homework for you. It also works well with verbal learners and discussion-based classrooms. Kids love it because it's fun, it's interactive, and it's social, and students feel like they get to play a character rather than just write, which they're probably doing plenty of in your language arts classroom, so this is a nice way to mix it up. So, for an example from the book The Giver, the student who is Jonas could be asked, "Why didn't you tell anybody about what you saw?" and must respond using details from the text. For the book Holes, a student as Stanley could answer, "Why did you carry Zero up the mountain?" and explains the motivation and consequences based on text evidence. The third way to assess reading comprehension without a worksheet is a text message exchange. So they write a short text exchange between characters reflecting an event, a conflict, or a decision in the story. I would be kind of specific about what I ask them to do and not just write a text message to them and maybe give them some parameters as to what they need to include. It works because the students must capture character voice and motivation. It requires comprehension of key events and cause and effect relationships, and it adds creativity while still being standards aligned. Teachers love it because it's quick to check understanding and it doesn't require a ton of your time to look through all of this. It allows students to reveal gaps in comprehension that traditional worksheets just can't do. Students love it because it's fun and modern and relatable, and it feels like writing creatively rather than a formal assignment. So, examples from the Hunger Games, Katniss could text Peeta after the tracker jacker incident, reflecting fear and strategy, then explains which details inspired the messages. From Percy Jackson, Percy and Grover text after a monster encounter, showing their planning and worry, plus a short explanation connecting the story events. Okay, number 4 could be a letter to a character. And I know that this sounds like, okay, well, they're still writing, but it's a whole different experience. Okay, they're going to write a letter to the character at the end of the story, reflecting on choices, growth, or events. You could also do this in the middle of the story for sure, when the character is kind of at a point where they're having to make a big decision, and that could be a good time to write a letter to them. It works because it encourages reflection and authentic thinking. It shows understanding of character arc and theme, and it integrates text evidence in a very natural way. Teachers love it because, again, it's simple to grade with a rubric or a checklist, and it can be adapted for multiple levels, like short letters or multiple paragraph reflections. So you can adapt it to your student needs and maybe make a couple of different versions of what you expect for your different leveled learners in your room. Students love it because it feels personal and meaningful, and it lets them engage emotionally with the story, which is really what we want our kids to ultimately do. Some examples from Charlotte's Web: students could write to Wilbur about how he could respond to losing Charlotte, citing story events. From To Kill a Mockingbird, students write to Scout reflecting on her decision to confront prejudice, including examples from key scenes. And the last one that I have for you today is really one of my favorites. Anytime I create a choice for kids to pick from at the end of a book, I always include this one, and it is a playlist. They create a playlist of songs that represent a character's journey, including explanations for each choice. It works because students analyze character arc, emotions, and theme. The creative expression allows personal connection, and it explains abstract concepts such as growth or change through music. Teachers love it because it shows deep comprehension in a really fun format. And talk about easy to grade, a simple rubric will help you do that. It's easy to check explanations for evidence and understanding. One thing I would have students do when they create their playlist is submit a quick chart of the song, a specific lyric that they think really applies, and maybe one sentence saying why they picked the song, and that would make it very easy to grade. Students love it because it's choice-based and modern, and it combines music and literature in a fun and creative way. An example, Anne of Green Gables. Students choose a song for Anne's excitement arriving at Green Gables, one for conflict with Gilbert, and one for her reflection at the end, explaining each connection. For Harry Potter, they can pick songs for Harry's start at Privet Drive, the challenges of the Triwizard Tournament, and the final battle, then explain how each song reflects his growth. So all of these activities will work with any fiction text and give you a far more meaningful insight than a worksheet ever could. If you want ready-to-use versions of any of these ideas, I've linked related resources in the video description. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a teacher friend who's tired of grading worksheets. New teaching tips and free lesson ideas are added here regularly, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss them. Until then, keep teaching, keep inspiring, and don't forget to prioritize time for yourself. I'll see you in the next video.